Good afternoon, team. Hey guys, I was just hopefully you're having a very happy Sunday. Um, I pray that you're blessed. I pray that your family is blessed this weekend. Enjoy them all, right? Have a great time out with your family. Um, I was just listening to the Sunday message by Bishop Clinton House at Mountaintop Faith. And yes, that is my pastor, but it's kind of a cool fact. Been praying for that man since well before I moved here in Las Vegas, which really will explain a lot of me to you. I'm not a person that moves just in the day, in the minute, and the hour. I'm a person that moves in the future. And what I mean by that is when I was broke, I projected that I wouldn't stay broke. And that's what many of you have to do. I was speaking to a man who was looking at an affiliate program, and he's going to a business school to teach him how to be a better entrepreneur. He's a barber. And he contacted me, and the first thing that he wanted to tell me was thank you, because he realized some of the same tools and things that I've been explaining to him for years, at least 3 years now, literally are the things that they're teaching him right now in that school, but it cost him $10,000 to be a part of that program, which is something that I completely did by design. And some of you may miss it, but you really need to really stay focused on it and pay attention to it, because the freebies will go away eventually. And the reason why I say that is I did this really because the Most High kind of impressed upon me that before you die, make sure that people get it, right? And so I put this information out there for free. I did it during the pandemic. Things were kind of difficult for a lot of people. I really got busy in my city, in Las Vegas. And once you learn these things, guys, you can create a space out of air, out of nothing. I don't wait for someone to come to me and say, hey, look, I got a job opportunity for you. I go and create the job itself. And that's a big part of what being a promoter is, because the number one thing that most businesses are missing is someone who can get the word out, who can truly, truly, truly get the word out. And so if you've been wondering why, say, EJ Pretty or some of these businesses willingly allow my services, is because I'm giving them away for zero, nothing whatsoever. And you probably heard Les Brown say this, right? If you paid attention, right? If you go on Les Brown's, if you look for any video on Les Brown, you're going to hear it, right? How he got started by basically not begging his way in, but pursuing his way in. He went to a radio station, knew what he wanted out of life, and went for it, literally. Beyond the odds that he had in his life and those things that were against him, he just went for it without question, right? And there was no job opportunity available. And so he bugged and irritated the owner or the program manager, right? Over and over and over again, until the guy finally just gave in and said, go get him some coffee. And that's the type of relentless that you need to be. And yes, I do say type, because the first thing the young man began to explain to me, and he's actually a little old, well, my age, right? He's almost 51. I mean, he said, look, Brian, he said, we don't have a lot of time. I said, I know this. I understand. That's why I'm not wasting any time while I'm here. Every second, every moment, every minute could be the last one that I have here on earth, which is my only approach. I don't have a dreamer's approach. I don't have a standby approach. I don't have a let me get myself together approach. There's no such thing. There is no getting yourself together. It's today. I generally choose the hardest thing first. That's why I pursue things with such lightning speed, because the hardest thing is the one that I'm going to go after. And he began to tell me, he said, man, he said, the first thing I got to do is I got to get my mind right. The second thing he did was he thanked me. And he told me, he said, man, he said, I'm going to spend at least 5 minutes a day at minimum. And this is a busy guy. He's a barber. He's a former Marine. He literally drives a truck, right? So he doesn't really have time, which is the same point that I make to you all the time. Of course you don't have time. That's the whole point by design. But the number one thing he told me was, he said, Brian, he said, I never saw myself working for someone else for the rest of my life. He does logistics. He's got a little truck or whatever he runs, but he doesn't like the feel that he's working for someone else. And I know many of you feel exactly the same way, but you're waiting for something to show up, and you keep ignoring these things that we put out here. You ignored this. This couldn't possibly be the way, right? And then I told him, I said, you know what? He said, what? I said, I took acting, right? And I took improv in Chicago. And I said, you know what I realized? And he said, what's that? I said, it's all the same. Whether it's sales, whether it's acting, whether it's improv. If I was an attorney, don't have to put ads on TV in order to get people to come knock on my door. So what? I just got my college degree. Fantastic. Do I know how to get someone through the door? Because if the answer is no, then I will starve until I go work for someone else. So either way, either you wake up and realize it, or you just work for someone else for the rest of your life, which is okay if that's what you want to do. But I began sharing with him because he knew my father. My father was actually his insurance agent from the time he was a child. He knew exactly who my father was. And we don't fully remember each other growing up, but it's impossible that we didn't know each other, considering the people, even the church that he went to and everything. And I said, man, maybe I just don't remember specifically who you were. You know, we went to even one of the same schools at the same time period. But the number one thing that he knows isn't a lie is that my father hustled his entire life. This man hustled. He did not play games. There wasn't a joke within hustling. And I speak to people a lot of times, and I'm frustrated because I don't think they had a father figure. Forget a father. Maybe you didn't have a father, and that's okay. But did you have a father figure? Was there someone at the boys club? Was there someone, were you a Boy Scout? Did you do something where somebody put time into you? Because I think what happens sometimes is people don't recognize what I'm actually doing. I'm giving back what the world gave to me. Had a beautiful chance to talk to an entrepreneur today, and she sells spices, and we were talking, and she was trying to get a gauge. What is it that you do? Why are you being so nice to me? That's what she was thinking, because she moved here from California. We finally got to the end of the conversation as she was plugging her Tesla in, and she says, oh, so the promoter helped you. He wasn't from your town. You were from Louisville, Kentucky. He could have very easily told you no. And you're basically just paying it forward right now. And I said, ding, 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 ding. Welcome to my world, because that's what I think. Now, I don't worry about the laws of reciprocity, because reciprocity will come back to Brian. It is reciprocal. What I put out there, I'm going to get back. But something you need to think about. If you've not, even if you have a dream, but you showed zero concern about someone else, don't expect the laws of reciprocity to come back to you in a delightful way. Because the only reciprocal thing you're going to get back is that same amount of selfishness, that same amount of malcontent, that same amount of lack of courage, right? Because it takes courage to help someone else. It takes courage to pull someone up by the hand. It takes courage to love on them, even though you don't know them. That all takes courage. And trust me, guys, it took courage for me to admit my failures. It took courage for me to admit that I have had repossessions before. It took courage to admit that I've lost a home before. It took courage to admit that I've slept on an air mattress. None of those things were easy things for me to do. But once I got through and got to my breakthrough, none of those things mattered to me anymore, because they're not going to come back to haunt me, because I refuse to put myself in that position. I thank God for every day that I get. I thank God for the differences of the day. But I will not curse today. I will bless today by being a blessing in every single aspect of every way that I can. I will actually invest in my future. I will invest my time wisely. I won't waste people's time. I won't waste my own time. There is no scam inside of me. There's no joke inside of me. That's why it's easy for me to call a spade when somebody gets on the phone and calls me, because consistency has always been what I'm about. I'm not going to say I've never made a mistake, because we all do. But at the end of the day, I didn't purposely, willingly go into something with the idea of doing someone harm. I don't think I'm better than anyone else. I know I'm not. I know I'm less than. But I know this much. I can learn every single thing that I need to learn. I was looking at Dr. Stan's book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. If some of you are struggling with network marketing, but you have not yet read that book, that's all I'll say to that. You'll change the moment you want to, you know? But meanwhile, I was listening to what the pastor was preaching today. And as I was going over all the information in the book of Numbers, and he was talking about the children of Israel and how they were looking for that water, that well, that blessing, he decided to go back into the moment that they had made a mistake. in Second Chronicles, and they didn't carry the Ark of the Covenant of God right. They didn't carry the presence of God right. There was a very specific way you had to carry it, and they tried to do it their own way. Well, he turned it on us and he said, are you carrying the presence of God in the right way? Are you sincerely carrying it the right way? Because if you're carrying the presence of God the wrong way and you're coming out of it, and you're not getting what you need out of it, it's maybe because you're not giving God the glory properly. One thing that I will tell you, and this is not a joke, when I approach prayer, I approach it as though I'm approaching it at the Master's feet. I don't deserve my place in prayer. I don't deserve my salvation. I don't deserve God to love me. I honestly sit in wonder of God, that he would put the time into me that he puts into me, that he would love me in spite of me. All of my mistakes, all of my doubts, all of my flaws, everything that I've ever done, yet he still loves me, yet he still calls me son, yet he still desires me to call his name. How dare I lose focus and make the focus about me and not remember to give God all of the glory, all of the praise, all of the honor for what he's done for me. So guys, hopefully you get something from this, but make sure that as you go through this month, this is a month of divinity. It really is. I mean, you can look it up. The Jewish feast days say that the actual New Year falls this month. It falls between the 24th and the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. This month, right now, Rosh Hashana. So this is the holiest of months. Make sure that you pull close to God, that you draw nigh to him. Make sure that he gives you a message about you, and make sure that you get out a piece of paper and you write out your why. What is your mission? Why are you here on this earth? What is it that you haven't done that you want to see fulfilled before you die? Make no mistake about it. Before the money, before anything else, that's the number one reason why I'm here, to pull as much of that out of you as humanly possible. God bless.